you can also make your own contribution. Talking about what we will be discussing, I want to discuss, on how people get stressed out on things they can or cannot do. And most times people get stressed by just the thinking of the fact that this thing is too big for me to accomplish, it is too big for me to deal with, so how can I even deal with it, instead of them focusing on how to make it work. They focus their thinking on how big the task is, to the extent they don't get to achieve anything at the end of the day, which is bad. When you have a goal or when you have something set for yourself, I think the most important thing is for you to plan out how you are going to execute it, how you are going to achieve it, not just you thinking how big the project is and then you cannot accomplish it. It will weigh you down, it will bring you down. So, and then at the end of it, you get stressed, out for doing nothing. And then there are some people who get stressed out of fear of the unknown. Talking about how you're investing your money in something and then you're scared of the fact that you might not get what you are getting. You have to be realistic actually when you're putting in, and most times businesses, you have to take risk, but you have to also be careful, so that you can't just put in things that you cannot achieve at the end of it, but still yet you don't have to put your whole thinking in the fact that you cannot achieve that thing. You should be able to be positive in your thinking, and you have to have the conviction. That is why most times we say, as you're doing business, as you start your daily activities, as you go out there, whatever thing you need to do per time, you have to put God first. And his wisdom is not like ours. His wisdom is actually a different kind of feeling, where when you ask God for the leading, or when you ask God for the saying of something, there's a different way you can approach it. People might not even understand what you're doing, or people might not even grab it at first. They'll be like, is this person really okay? But as long as you are convinced within you that you have asked God for the leading, and then he is the one leading your thoughts, he is the one leading you, and then you're putting in your strength, you're putting in your all, you are going to achieve what you need to achieve. And then that is why, as you pray, you also need to believe in yourself, which is really important. Some people just don't believe in themselves. They feel like, I don't think I can do this thing, even though it is natural for people to think that way, because most times there are some things we are faced with, especially some challenges we are faced with. Instead of us to see it as a positive way, to push ourselves to do better, we just feel like, okay, these things are like situations that can weigh us down. Even there are so many hard things, to be realistic, there are so many challenges people face, and it's more like, this is taking the whole of me. But it is the right time for someone to push yourself. And when you cross that bridge, that is when you get to understand that really, you have the power in you, or you have the capacity in you, but you just didn't know it. And then this situation is what made you understand the kind of person you are. That is why we say, whatever you do, try to learn from your mistakes, your failures, because they get to motivate you, and then they get to boost you and push you to go further. So don't sit down and think, this is too big. It is stressful, even though it is fear that causes that, but you have to overcome your fear. As a person in life, you have to overcome your fear. There are some things that, yes, will come, but just take it the way it is. It will grow you. It will develop you better. So for one, there are days that no matter how strong a person is, there are days that you get to be scared of some things that can come, and then there are days you just feel like, okay, you're broken, you're just vulnerable and all that. It is a time for reset. Okay, it is a time for reset. You can just learn and tell yourself, okay, this is the time I need to, put on my big girl or big boy, or, whatever age, you are, that is the time you can just put on that kind of, better zeal, or dedication to what you're doing, so that you can move ahead. So don't limit your thinking. Don't sit and then be where you are for long. It brings fear, it brings stress, and then at the end you don't get to achieve what you want to achieve, because you are mentally down, and then your strength is just like something is sapping it out of you, because you just feel like you're trying and it's not yielding fruit. And when you are stressed, sometimes you just start doing things that you just put your strength in other things that actually can't solve exactly what you want, because you're not thinking straight. And that is why most times I advise people who feel stressed to talk to people that can help them. But if you don't have someone you think you trust, which you definitely need to have one person in your life that you need to trust, and just tell whatever situation whatever challenges you're going through, so that the person can just, and how it is, how you can just sit down and talk to somebody, even if the person cannot give you a solution to your problem, but you have voiced it out. At least someone else knows what you're feeling, and then there's this a little bit of calmness from it. And apart from that, if you get lucky for you to have somebody that can even advise you on what to do, then which is even good. But then make sure that you talk to someone. But if you can't talk to someone, you can also take some exercises. We talk about exercises, and people don't really know the impact of exercise. It refreshes you, and then it makes you feel bold again. There's this confidence you have in yourself when you're exercising, and then you're feeling your inner person. It brings the better person out of you. So you need to exercise. And then we also have the brain exercises, and medication is actually one thing that is also advisable. You don't have to think about something, but how you can meditate on it and then see possible solutions. And I feel thinking makes you more stressed, but when you sit down and then meditate, sit down and then go back to yourself, and then think of what is going on with you, and then the possible solution. And then most times in meditation, no matter how busy an environment is, you can actually talk in yourself, and then think of nice environment, and then how whatever you're doing, if it's stressful, how you can just come out of it and provide better solutions. And another thing is when you feel overwhelmed by stress, or when you feel overwhelmed by fear, especially when you have projects or things you want to achieve and you feel like they are big for you, I think you should break it down into pieces. Like break it down, and then start from prioritize them, and then know the first level to go, the second level to go, and then how you can achieve all that. There are some projects you can't just start at once. Okay, talking about how to get started. When you talk about businesses, you have to have the capital, okay, before you start thinking, okay, if I have the capital, before you think of going to the market, before you think of buying, coming back, and then probably if you don't have a shop, you start selling it to people, or you start posting it on your phone, or you start doing some. If you don't these things are in process. You don't just sit down and say, I have a business plan. You just put so many things together at once. There are people who don't even have a business plan. They have money already, so sometimes you just feel like, let me just start this one, let me just start this one, let me just start this one. And then at the end of it, because you have money, it's not like you have interest in what you're doing, you sink your money inside, and then it goes. Before you know, you start thinking, why is this thing, why is that? So you have to have a plan. Everything in life is in process. For the fact that you have does not mean you have to start. You have to learn how to start before you start. And then there are people who if internet business is what you want to do, or if you want to be somebody that would want to have a content on internet, first things first, you have to have a good phone before you start trying to develop your content, and you have to develop yourself, and then let it get to the point that you're convinced that okay, you are actually it is the right time for you to be seen out there. Okay, so when everything is in process. I'm just giving you a little example of how you can start up some things. So you don't have to start like it is a do or die thing. Probably somebody is doing it, so you just want to do it immediately, and then you bring out something that is not of quality, or you bring out something that is not the best. Because trust me, the market is really, really choked with people, like different brands, different products and all that. So you have to, if you are bringing something to the table, what is that thing you are bringing, so that at the end you don't get frustrated, or you don't frustrate yourself out of simple things you should or would have avoided in the first place. So you have to be careful in taking out some things, so that you don't get to stress yourself that much. This is the time where we'll have to take our video for the day. I'll be right back.
My name is Esther Uchechiku, and here is my shop. My shop, that is the name of my shop, is Uche Base Industrial Chemical. Here is a place that we deal on household chemicals, of how to make many household chemicals, such as liquid soap, like the one I'm doing here, the liquid soap I'm doing here. We have Izai, we have Ditto, we have air freshener, we have many household chemicals. Anyone you can think of is here. So these are the chemicals, the raw chemicals used for making all these products. So I'm here to tell my fellow women out there, don't just stay at home saying that there's nothing you can do. So I'm telling my people out there, women out there, my friends, my brothers, my sisters, don't just stay idle. Don't just stay in one place. There's something for you to do. There's something for you to grab and earn a living, a livelihood living with it. We are here to also help our youth out there. When you come, the only thing, you calm down, we'll give it, tell you how you go about doing it. Then before you know, you make you start making something, and before you know, you go forward. So I'm encouraging everyone out there, try to do something and help yourself. Don't stay idle. They say an idle man is a devil workshop. When you stay at home without doing anything, I don't think it's good. And why I do this, the benefit is that it's helped me a lot. It's helped me, guys, to just like exercise, because there are many things. You can't just stay. It's what you do, and I feel happy with my work. I'm very, very happy when doing it. Some people say no, it's stressful, it's chemical, it's harmful. Yes, we know that yes, there's nothing in this life that don't have advantage and disadvantage, but you have to do it well. When doing it, you know what you avoid and know what you do. So I know there is some parts that is of it that will not be this thing go, but we have to prevent it also. We face these challenges of these chemicals. Before you enter there, you have to protect yourself before entering there. Sometimes you do enter, but I will not say because of the disadvantage, then I will stop. Guys, I have to still do it. Sometimes standing. Another challenge is standing. Sometimes I do stand from morning to night. When I come, I stand. It's not a work that you just come and sit down in one place. You have to stand and be giving one or two things. That is my challenge sometimes. So I have to stand. That's why I need some people to help me also. I have to stand to give I don't sit down. So that is on my challenge. and also coming, I have to attend to my call, give them what they want. Also the best, that is, I do open my shop in the morning, early in the morning, as early as 8 I'm here, and 5:30 I'm gone to do one or two things. That is all.
Of course, no matter the challenge, you definitely have to get up, go out, and then face them. And one thing is that when you face your challenge, you grow over them in time, without you wasting time, thinking you're trying to avoid your challenge. You cannot avoid your challenge. In fact, even if you try to avoid this way, it can come in another way, and then you still have to face them. So if you are somebody who is afraid of facing his challenges in life, then I don't think you want to grow, because everybody has to face his challenge, and then grow over them. So you have to get up and be deliberate and do something for yourself, instead of sitting there and then wallowing in your thoughts and thinking on how big something is and how it is more than you, and how your self-trust your self-trust is not really grown that big for you to say, okay, you want to try this no matter how hard it is. You want to try it and then overcome your fear. Okay, so when you overcome your fear, I don't think you have too much of stress, because no matter how it comes, you already you already know that something may go wrong. Yes, and that is facing your challenge. Something may go wrong, but it doesn't stop you from doing it. Except, there are people who take like too big of risk, and then at the end, it doesn't really favor them. That is, where you have to check first, because that is why planning is good. You plan and then understand how the challenges are going to come and how you can overcome them, or how you whatever the end product is, it shouldn't affect you negatively. Okay, so you have to be very careful even as you deal with your challenges. And another thing also I want to talk about is get support from people. There are some people who we go to their marketplaces and then more their business places, especially those people who are doing handcraft, or people who are doing like maybe tailoring or saloon work and all that. Most times you get to hear them say they would want to empower the young people without them having to give them anything. And it is really encouraging. It is encouraging that people are there to encourage other people. And as a person, if you are into a business, I think you should have a community of people who have like minds with you, so that when things go wrong, they can be able to help you out. There are people who have groups where if their businesses go bad, any of them, they have other people that can support them, take them up. And that is why it is so important as a person to keep a good relationship with people, because when you are in trouble, you definitely find someone that can help you out. But when you have always you've had in you not to have a good relationship with people, you find out that things are really difficult for you, because even if someone next to you can help you out on something, the person might decide not to help you out because of the kind of person you are to him or her. So you have to be careful. You have to have a good relationship with people. It doesn't have to be because of the benefits you are getting, even though, trust me, relationships are always for benefits. It is either spiritual, emotional or physical benefits, but it has to be that the relationship is of benefit. If the person can lead you to Christ, it's of benefit. If the person can support your business, it's of benefit. If the person can do anything positive or give you a positive advice, is of good benefit. So that is why people need to keep good relationships, because they are beneficial, and at the end you get to move ahead with the support of people. And trust me, it is going to be better. And then there was a time I talked about how some people feel it is they don't want to put so much money by, recruiting people to work for them, because they feel like, okay, if I bring somebody to work for me, I'll have to pay the person, even though you have to check the kind of business you have for you and then the level of the business before you say, okay, you want to introduce other people. But there are some people who burn themselves out, because they don't want people to be involved in it, and then they just burn themselves out. And before long, what you're producing, even if it's like mentally, or even if you're a writer or whatever it is, if you're doing everything by yourself, before you know it, you get stretched out, you get tired, and the quality or the quantity you're supposed to produce is not going to be there. So you have to involve people, and you have to involve people that can give you also advice, so that you can't just sit down and do the thinking yourself and do everything yourself. Try to involve people in whatever you're doing, at least, so that you have less stress, and at the end not get to achieve what you want to achieve. Thank you everyone for joining us on the morning drive. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you grabbed something today, and I pray that you get to have a swell day. I pray that you get to have a successful day, a day filled with God's favor in your life. And I'll see you tomorrow by 8 a.m. God bless you all. Bye bye.